Okay, so I made a video a while back, and I didn't buy that car, but I did buy a different car. I am currently sitting in my 2013 Lexus ISF, a full-fat 5-liter V8 ISF. As some of you may know, I used to have a 350 F Sport 2014. I don't know why I said it in that order. This is 1 year older than that, but because the generation change was 13 to 14, it feels a lot different in here. So I'm just going to go for a drive in it, and I'll give my opinions on how it drives. The two things that I don't like about this car: the back seats, they don't fold down. So whatever trunk space you have is basically what you're limited to. The trunk space isn't bad, but it's just, it's not as good as having a full pass through with the seats down. The other thing, which is a bit more of a problem, I'm just over 6 foot tall. I'm sitting in my normal driving position. However, the seat is leaned back a little more because it's not very tall in here. If I close this, I can't right now because there's a camera on there, but if I close the sunroof cover, I can feel it pressing into my hair right now. If I sit like this, I can feel the ceiling of the car pressing into my hair. So this car is clearly not meant for taller people. Anyone taller than me drove this car, it wouldn't be good because your head would probably be touching the ceiling at that point. The noggin part of your head touching the hard part of the ceiling right here. That would probably be very uncomfortable. I feel like I'm kind of sitting on top of the car a little bit, which I don't love. I'm fortunate that I'm not any taller than I am, so I can somewhat comfortably sit in the car. If I really want to, I can just lean the seat a little further back if needed. But I do like sitting in a more upright position. I have a bad back, all that kind of stuff. There are two things that are done to this car performance-wise: cold air intake, and there's also a catback with a valve on it, which is actually what this is for. We'll take it for a drive. Take it for a drive. Seatbelt on. Here we go. Okay, so I gotta refuel because I'm literally on empty. So let's do that first. I think we just missed our recycling. I don't know if you can see the truck out there, but our recycling is definitely not out on the curb. So yeah, we definitely missed our recycling day. The climate controls are mostly here in this screen. I don't know if you can see it, but you do still have a lot of other buttons you can use. But if you want to choose where to direct the air, the fan speed, and whether the AC is on, or if you want dual climate, that is all controlled through here. Not ideal, but not a world ender. It's kind of funny, I actually didn't think about that going into buying this car, because I actually really don't like when all the climate controls and like audio controls are just on a screen, especially when it's a screen like this that doesn't have very good feedback when you do anything. And I thought that was like a newer car thing only, but as it turns out, apparently cars from 2013 also have this, or have had this. This 8-speed is very quick, but when you're just putting around like I am right now, it's really smooth. It's not as smooth actually as the 6-speed I had in the 350, but that was really tuned for comfort. So this isn't as good as at the comfort part of it, but it's really good with the sporty part of it. Whereas the 350 was good at the comfort part of it, really good at that, but it was pretty bad at the sporty aspect of it. So I'm just basically trading off one thing for another. And I would much rather have this setup where the sports side is better and the comfort side is like, kind of average. Fuel economy, let's talk about fuel economy. We're just getting all the boring stuff out of the way. My average consumption rate has been 11.1 liters per 100 kilometers. On this tank, I've been getting 11.7. The majority of my driving is city driving, I guess you could call it, where it's just in town from my house to where I work. It's not that long of a drive either. It's like 10 minutes for me to get from my house to the office. It is firmer. The suspension is set up to be more firm for sure. They actually had to soften it on the facelifted versions. I think it was 2010 and up, and they kept making revisions, which is why the later model year is the best to have. So I got really fortunate with this one. There's not a lot of these on sale, especially late models. 2011, 12, and 13, those ones are the hardest ones to find, but those are the ones that most people would want. The main difference is this has a limited slip diff in the back, because it is rear-wheel drive. The suspension is tuned to be a little more livable, and the transmission, they did a couple things here and there just to make it a tiny bit quicker. They changed the gauge cluster, which I'll show you in the interior shots. So my spec is Obsidian Black with the red interior. I've read somewhere, probably on Reddit, that apparently this spec is pretty tough to find, so that's kind of cool. I didn't actually know when I first was looking them up that they had like a full red interior. I thought it was just like the red inserts, but I do prefer this. I like this one. And even the back seats are red too. Speaking of back seats, holy moly, are they ever tight. The IS was never known really for its family hauling capabilities. Yeah, these seats are pretty small. It is a small car. I bet you that Honda Civic right there has more backseat room. I don't think that's an ISF thing either. I think that's just like an IS thing in general. They just don't have good backseat room. I obviously don't care, but if you are always carrying around multiple people, nice, then I suppose that could be important for you. There is no middle seat in the back. This is a 2+2.
It's 4 minus 1, that's 3, quick maths.
If you don't have the armrest down, it's just this flat piece of plastic. Spit on the steering wheel, sorry. The 2+2 setup, it just kind of works for when you're in a pinch, you need to carry a couple other people around. I wouldn't necessarily love using this. If you have like young children, you probably can, like no big deal. Like they're pretty small, they can fit. If you're carrying around 4 adults pretty consistently, I don't think this is the car for you. You might be able to hear it, but there are a couple of small interior rattles. This is a 12-year-old car now, coming up on 12 years old. It has 127,000 kilometers on the clock. Obviously, it's not brand new. And, you know, plastic hinges and latches and stuff, they sort of just wear out over time. It's not an obnoxious amount. I don't, like, think of it every time that I am driving. Okay, thanks for that. I don't think of it every time that I'm driving. It's just kind of there. If you hit a big bump, it sort of just rattles a little bit. Visibility is pretty good. No real complaints there. This doesn't have a ton of new safety features that a lot of cars have now. It's a really small car. You know, the windows are big enough. You can just do this and you should be fine. And of course, I was used to like an IS and sort of the Lexus brand, I guess you could say, since I had that other car for 5 years. So it kind of made sense for me to want this one. I like having something that's dependable, something that I just know will do its thing every day. I don't have to worry about like my engine just blowing up or like anything really going wrong. You want to have as minimal problems in general, but especially with a daily. So this has so far checked that box very convincingly for me. This is a really busy day. I don't know what is going on. I am pulling up to the gas station. I'm gonna fill up and then I'll just talk about anything else that I want to talk about before we get to really driving the car. And then we'll do that. I'll have to take this camera down because it's kind of mounted a little jankily right now. You may have noticed by the amount of camera shake that you're seeing. Oh, there are so many cars here. I'm gonna navigate this zoo of a parking lot. There's like 800 cars in this parking lot that has 10 fuel pumps. Okay, yeah, you go ahead. This gas station is always busy. Let's throw in P. Sound system is good. Not as good as the Mark Levinson in my old one, but still pretty good. Fuel mileage. Usually it's between 11 to 13 liters per 100 kilometers. There's got to be a better way to say that unit of measurement. In the winter, it definitely gets worse. This is a 63, almost 64 liter tank. On the highway, it's a lot better. You know, 8 gears, sits really low in the revs, as long as you're not binning it every opportunity you get, which is admittedly very difficult to do. I will. Oh. Hey, good. You never know who you're gonna meet at the grocery store. Thank you for joining us. Second camera hanging off the windshield. We're gonna be exclusively going off based. Let me try that again. We're gonna be switching exclusively to this angle. Hello. Okay, time for some spirited driving. All right, so car's going into sport mode, which sharpens up throttle response and tells the transmission to go bananas and make shift time extremely quick. I've driven a dual clutch before, the one in the Veloster N actually. That was pretty quick. This feels pretty much on par with that, especially when you're on it, when you get up to the higher RPMs, when you're like close to red line. This thing shifts like nobody's business. So we're gonna switch to manual mode. Okay, so yeah, really quick, 0 to 60, apparently it's 4.5-ish. Real world scenarios, under 5 seconds. The steering feel isn't out of this world, could be improved. The actual handling dynamics are really good. The limited slip diff does magic. You can do slides in this pretty easily, especially with it in sport mode. It backs off the traction control. I forgot to mention that it does that as well. With the traction off, you probably will be struggling for grip unless you really like roll onto the power. I've driven this car in the dry, like a day not dissimilar to this one, shifting through second, third, and fourth. Even at the beginning of fourth gear, I'm still fighting for grip at the back. So, you know, you can't be like too stupid, especially if you're gonna go traction off. You just have to pay attention to what you're doing. Okay, this is a bit of a tight road, but it's... Top tier. Oh, this is nice. The trees are like overhanging the road. I haven't driven on this road in a while. It's nice. Remember, there's this big like S turn up here. Fox body, nice. Okay, all right. And the sun's coming out. Oh man, what a dream. It's not too bumpy here. Oh yeah, takes that turn real nice. And a little bit oversteer on the way out, why not? Oh yeah, that feels good. Truck crossing the yellow line, thank you very much. I like this. The shifter or the paddles have a nice sound to them too. They kind of have this like little click to the. You can't really hear it too well on the mic, I don't think. But when you're in the car, you can kind of hear like a nice little thing. And the two tones are different. So the downshift sound and the upshift sound are a little bit different, but they have like this little click kind of, which is kind of cool. There you go. You might be able to hear it there if I just do that. So yes, very easy to have fun. You will obviously destroy your mileage, but you know, that's not what it's about. We're not here to impress the EPA or anything, right? We are here to burn fuel and smile doing it. What are we gonna do without big engines, big, loud, noisy engines, right? I don't know, just the thought of driving an electric car kills me, man. Like, it's so depressing. To think one day I might be forced to drive a car that literally sounds like nothing, just sounds like a, I don't know, like a whoosh of air. Man, it doesn't feel good. It does not feel good. This is what it's all about, you know, enjoying the sunshine, burning fuel, making noise, going through gears. Yeah, it's just, what can you do? I am glad to be born in a time when I can experience stuff like this, because there's cars that do certain things better than this one. But for what I'm looking for, I mean, this is everything and more, to be honest. I'm very happy with this car. Speaking of happy, let's make some noise. Let's take it down to second. Okay. Yes, very quick shifts indeed. Okay. This road is very bumpy. Do all that and you can quiet right down, take it out of sport mode, go back into drive, and you're chilling, just cruising back home, you know. Houses up here. One of my favorite things about this is actually the transmission. When you're down low, it's, you know, comfortable like just any other slush box, but when you're up high, when you're like really under load and you're really gunning it, it snaps shifts off. All right, looks like this road is getting kind of traffic-y. There's a few cars showing up here and there, so we'll just take it a little easy back to the main road. Okay, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? What's going on? What are we doing? Okay, I don't know why we're doing 40 on Alright, whatever. If you're a guy like me, you don't have a family, you're not carrying around a bunch of people all the time, you don't have big stuff that you're hauling around everywhere, this is probably the perfect car for you, to be honest. If you're willing to pay the little extra bit for more expensive tires, maybe more expensive wear items like brakes and brake pads and rotors. And this engine takes a lot of oil, that's another thing. If you're willing to put up with that kind of stuff, then, and obviously, you know, the increased fuel mileage, or fuel consumption, I should say, then this is probably like the perfect car for you. Maybe if you're going to the track a lot, this probably wouldn't be the best pick. The M3 was the better car for that. Me coming from regular cars with a hint of performance to them, This is sort of ideal for me, like this power range, 400 to 500 horsepower sort of window. So here's a little outside walk around of the car. I do have custom RGB smoked out taillights, blacked out the chrome on the sides. Wheels and tires, this is an Avant-Garde M621, 265, 30, 19 in the back, and then 235, 35, 19 in the front. The wheel is a 10.5, and the one in the front is a 9.5, I believe. For width, yeah. PS4S's for tires. There's that signature quad exhaust. They are garnishes. The actual pipe is back there. You might be able to see the valve in there. It's kind of dark, but it's like a butterfly valve that just opens and closes. I think this one always stays open. Yeah, that one always stays open, but then this one is the one that will basically make it straight piped. Visual differences from the regular 350. This panel is the same. The trunk panel, I believe, is the same. The roof panel is the same, and the doors, of course. The hood, the quarter fenders, the front bumper, and the rear bumper are all different. These vents, I believe, are actually non-functional, which is kind of depressing. I can sort of see something through there, but I don't think they exactly, like, there's no thing here per se that goes out to it, so I'm pretty sure they're non-functional unless there's something under somehow, but I think that's just kind of a visual thing. These are 6-piston, partnered with Brembo to make these calipers. Of course, mine is very heavily tinted in the back. The front is slightly tinted. There's a little bit of a difference you can see from the front and the back. Overall, it's a very black car, so I didn't want to get black wheels for it. And I also have the red lug nuts because it kind of matches, you know, the black and the red. Brings it all together. They effed this car up a little bit with the badge. There's a few badges. There's that one. There's this one, and then there's one on the other side, of course. There's nothing on the front that has the F badge. There's this one right here on the steering wheel. On the mats, of course. When I turn the ignition on, you'll see the gauge sweep and you'll see the shift lights come on. Also, side note, that is probably the smallest speedometer I've ever seen in a production car. Like, that is really tiny. It doesn't really matter because the speed readout is right there in that little digital part of the screen. There you go. Yeah, so that's the shift lights right there. And there's that other digital F logo. Slightly effed up on the inside. The other visual differences, this console is different. Okay, please stop. Please stop. Let me just close that door. This fake metal-ish carbon fiber looking thing. Actually, I don't know if that's fake metal or real metal. Probably fake. But this pattern is unique to the F. My particular F specific trim piece has damage here, as you can see. It adds character, you know. There's another little F logo there. If you're sitting there, you know, you'd be reading it there. There's the back seats. They almost look like driver seats because they're like individual seats. They're not like it's not like a bench seat. Cup holders, it's kind of good. If I push that back up there, you'll see the little plastic piece, not a seat. This armrest is really plushy, so I kind of always keep it down as well because oh shoot, I can barely reach. Ow, that's my head. I also keep it down pretty much all the time because it just gives me 2 extra cup holders that aren't too far from like where I'm sitting. I can just always reach there. Front cup holders are this one here and this one here. There's a little insert there for the shape of a cup. There it is. That acts as your cup holder. In total, I believe that's 4. Not including these 2 little round indentations for what I'm guessing are supposed to be cups, although I don't know who in their right mind is going to put cups on those. Blue stitching, kind of cool. And on the door as well, there's a little bit of blue stitching, which is cool. This is pretty comfortable. This is pretty comfortable. This seat is very comfortable, classic Lexus. Very plushy, as you can see. There's another F logo. And I believe the last one is this one right here. And of course, the continuation of that metal carbon fiber looking thing. I guess if you want to know, there's a couple of vents here for HVAC, really tiny. You can turn them off and turn them on if you want. There's ashtray here for ashes. Here's the trunk, decent space. Got a bunch of stuff in there right now. Don't mind all that crap. You can definitely fit a couple golf clubs in here. We have actually for for trips, and you can fit a big like hockey bag type thing. There's your little pass through if you want to put something through into the seat. But yeah, nothing special in this. It's got a spare tire under there. All the tools and stuff. Not huge, not too small. Does the job. Okay, and lastly but not leastly, if I can, there we go, find the latch, there we are. That is your engine. I guess I did forget, that's our actual last F logo, probably the biggest one on the car besides the one in the back. You'd see it in there. And there are little vents here you'll see with a little pass-through that directs air to the brakes to cool them for when you're doing some track day stuff, I suppose. You're just really heavy on the brakes. I think that's pretty much it. That's my car that I'll be keeping until I die, hopefully, or until it dies. Couldn't be happier. Okay, well, hope you enjoyed. I'm gonna be leaving. This battery is literally about to die.